So here is synthetic divisions. We just went over how to do long division, and synthetic division is so nice. Um, it is a much, much, much faster way to work your problem. Okay, now we say that we can only use synthetic division when this part is a plain old x. That's not technically true, but you have to do some extra steps to your problem when there's a number in front. So we just say it's easier to just go with the rule of you can use synthetic division when that's a plain old x. Okay, so here's how synthetic division works. I don't have any steps for it. You just have to watch and catch on. All right, what you're going to do is draw a backwards L. Okay. The opposite sign, I want you to write the word opposite on your notes that you printed out, but the opposite sign sits in your backwards L. So I see a -3, so I'm going to put a +3 in there. Okay, now look at your dividend, your long parenthesis. Do you need a placeholder? Nope, because they go 2, 1, none. So you are fine. Okay. But what you do is you just take the coefficients, a 5, a -12, and a -8. Okay, so you just grab the numbers in front. Synthetic division lets you throw out all of the x's and just work with the numbers, and then you stick the x's back in. All right, so that's how you set up your problem. The only sign you change is the sign that's in your divisor, that little one. All right, so what you do is you drop the 5 one line down, whatever that first number is, and you're going to make a bunch of v's, and every time you make a v, you multiply. So you're going to say, what is 3 times 5? You get 15. And then do exactly what the signs say. 15 minus 12 would be 3. All right, now do it again. Now you say, what is 3 times 3? 9. And do exactly what the signs say. 9 minus 8 is 1. Now, there's no place, if I try to make another V, there's no place to put it, so that's how I know I'm done, okay? This is your answer, but it's missing the X's, okay? So what you do is you go one less than what you started with. So you start with 5x squared, so one less would be, one less power of x would be 5x, and then what's after x? Well, there's no x, so what does that make that 1? It makes it my remainder, so I would put it over x minus 3. Okay, and so that's a much faster, much shorter way instead of doing long division. Let's do this one. Okay, all right, so take the opposite sign of that. So if I see a -1, I put a +1 in. Okay, let's see if I need a placeholder. I started with a 3. So 3, 2, 1, none. I'm good. Just take the numbers in front. And a lot of times it helps if you put the pluses in there too. So we've got a +4, a -3, a +3, and a -1. Okay? Alright, so on your paper, whatever the first number is, you drop it one line. And here we go. We're ready to make our V's. So we say, what is 1 times 4? It's 4. And do exactly what the signs say. 4 minus 3 is 1. Do it again. 1 times 1 is 1. And do what the signs say. 1 plus 3 is 4. Alright, do it again. 1 times 4 is 4. And 4 minus 1 is 3. And I can't do it anymore, so I'm finished. Okay? But remember, you go one power less than what you started with. So this becomes 4. I started with x cubed. This becomes x squared. Alright, that's a +1. What's after x squared? X's, good. And what's after x's? No x's, so that 3 has to be my remainder, so I'll put it over my divisor. Alright, I got 4 more for you to try. Here we go. Alright, so opposite sign of +4 would be a -4. Alright, this one, I'll start with a 3. Do I go 3, 2, 1, none? No, who did I skip? I have no x squares, so when I fill them in, remember that number's in front. I have a +1, I have no x squares, I have a -6, and a -4. You still got to worry about those placeholders, anybody that you skip. Alright, let's bring down your 1. What's -4 times 1? It's -4. Plus 0 is -4. -4 times -4 is 16. 16 minus 6 is 10. And -4 times 10 would be negative 40. Negative 40 minus 4 would be negative 44. Okay, so I feel like I did something wrong. Let me double check. 1. Negative 4, 16. Yep, all right. So now let's put our x's back in. So this becomes 1x to the second minus, after that is x's, plus 10. No x's makes that my remainder. All right, so let's do this one. Opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2, and I have a plus 4. I have no x squares, I have no x's, and then I have a negative 1. So you got to think about, you had no x squares, no x's, and that negative 1. So I'm taking those numbers in front. Alright, so bring down that 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, plus 0 is negative 8. Alright, let's do it again. Negative 2 times negative 8 is 16, plus 0 is 16. And negative 2 times 16 is a negative 32, minus 1 would be a negative 33. So I have my first number 4. It's going to be 4, 1 less than that, x squared, minus 8x, plus 16. You just count them down from there, minus your remainder over x plus 2. So, sorry, here were these two answers. And let's do our last two real quick. Alright, so opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2. Alright, let's see. Do I need a placeholder? I go 3, 2, 1, none, so I don't. But remember, this is a 1 here. So if I took my numbers, I have a positive 1, a positive 5, a positive 7, and a positive 2. Alright, so drop the 1. Here we go. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 7 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 and 2 is 0. So this one doesn't have a remainder. Okay, but let's write our answer. That becomes 1x to the second, because I got to go 1 less, plus 3x plus 1. Now there's no need, don't do this. If you don't have a remainder, you don't have that part. You can just leave it off and give me this. Okay, now I will say synthetic division works super fast. I'm bad about careless mistakes. Double check, work it twice just to make sure you didn't mess up a sign. Alright, that's a negative 5, so put positive 5. And I go 2, 1, none, so I don't need anybody. That's a 1, so start with 1 minus 7 plus 12. Alright, so here's our last one. Drop your 1 line, and we say, alright, what is 5 times 1? 5. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, plus 12 is 2. So let's put our x's back in. This becomes 1x to the just first power, because that's 1 less. So that's a negative 2, no x, so that's my remainder over my divisor. Alright, go practice your homework.